Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you guys for spending part of your Sunday evening with me. We're going to go over case studies in a few minutes. Before we get started, though, any questions about any aspects of investing or anything else? Any questions, you guys? I took my coaching students out to some properties yesterday, and there's one property in particular that everyone just fell in love with. It was a foreclosure. We went to Baltimore, in Baltimore, that is up for auction. Auction ends on the 21st, whenever that is. I think that's Tuesday. And so the starting bid is 60,000. It was an in unit. It was a row house in unit, but they had already broken it up into two separate units, uh, and the utilities were separated as well. And so repair cost was about 80,000. After repair value is about 250. So it was a really good deal. And three or four of them expressed interest in buying that. When we look at some other properties that were good as well, but that one particular property, I'm going to call the auctioneer tomorrow and see if they'll accept an offer before the auction even starts. So I'm going to try to buy it before the auction starts. I say all that to say there's lots of deals out here. You just got to know how to find them. The tax foreclosure auction is actually coming up, and I'll be doing a tour in a couple of weeks on that. I think the auction is either the 18th or 19th of May. And so I'll be doing a tour. I think it's either the first or second weekend in May. I'll do a tour. We'll tour about maybe 10 properties that's on the tax foreclosure list. So you guys will get more information on that. If you haven't been to our 4-day course, that starts tomorrow. That's a great way to get started. I see Luis is here. He's going to showcase one of his properties. He started with our 4-day course. And then Akia, we're waiting on her. She's going to show two of her properties that she's recently done. We had a third investor, but at the last minute he had to bail out. So um, we won't be able to see his, but next time we do a case study, we will. So let's give these guys a few more minutes. Any questions, you guys?
Yeah, Keith, I mean not Keith, Greg. When we go to the auctions, we have to we can't finance a house that we purchased for auction, can it?
Yeah, you can absolutely can. You can get a loan for it. Yes.
Okay.
Hmm. All right. Any other questions?
Hey, Greg.
Yes.
Hey, I noticed in one of your social media postings that you had a couple of videos and they looked like they were on Ravenwood in Baltimore off of Bel Air.
I don't think
What?
so. If it was post from yesterday, no, that wasn't Ravenwood.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that a lot of the communities in Baltimore look the same. I know Ravenwood. I think you had found a couple properties on Ravenwood. I think that day that we went out there, I don't think we took any pictures.
The two videos, they look familiar, and that's why I was wondering.
I think that you went with us. This was a tour that we did a while ago, maybe 2 months ago. And I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correct, I think you were there. I think you went on those tours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can I call you tomorrow?
Yeah, call me late morning.
Okay. Between 11 and noon?
I think that should be good. Yeah.
Great. Will do.
Okay. Luis, how's it going, Luis?
Brother Greg, how you doing, man?
Good. You enjoying yourself?
Oh yeah, Alabama's nice.
You in Alabama? I thought you was in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, my bad, Savannah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a couple drinks. Yeah, Alabama, Savannah. Yeah, it's
Okay.
really nice out here.
Okay. You went down to the waterfront?
Yeah, yeah, we're by the waterfront, by the river. That's an interesting place, man.
Yeah.
I would have thought the shrimp and grits down here were like going to be dynamite, but you know, the fried seafood is pretty good. Not gonna lie about that.
Yeah, the shrimp down there is real good. Got that tiger shrimp fresh out the water.
Okay,
And then the shrimp and
okay,
grits, it just depends on who makes it.
yeah.
Can I
I,
call you
I heard.
tomorrow too, Greg?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead, Louise.
No, I heard your grits were pretty good.
Yeah, we make it. Everybody in my family makes it.
If I see pictures
I,
and
I,
videos, I
I,
don't
I
believe it.
I told you that where you are, that's where we're from. We're not we're not too far from we're in Beaufort, South Carolina, and you're in Savannah, Georgia. So you're about, I don't know, 30 miles from where
Yeah, that's right.
we're from.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's right. There's so much to do in the city, though. I can imagine traveling outside where I'm at. It's too much to do.
Any questions, you guys? Any questions before we get started?
Now, this morning, did you say what time I can call you tomorrow?
Yeah, I think late morning I'll be free. I got a important in the important appointment in the morning. But I'll say late morning is pretty good.
Oh, same
Late
time.
morning, late morning, early afternoon.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to.
All
Are
right.
you recording?
I'm going to record right now. Let me record right now. Let's see here. Oh, I'm recording. I'm already recording. All right, let's get started. All right, so thank you guys again for joining us tonight. We won't be on long. I just wanted to just go over some case studies. Oftentimes, everything is just kind of theory. All the webinars and trainings that we do go out in the field. As I just stated, we went out yesterday with a group of about, I don't know, 12 maybe, um, something like that, people yesterday. And a couple people are buying or hopefully putting contracts on some properties. And so yesterday was a good day. We looked at about, I don't know, maybe four properties, something like that. And at least two of them are really, really good. So there's lots of opportunity out here. A number of my coaching students have taken advantage of the opportunities, and I just wanted to showcase a few of them tonight. Akia and Luis is here. I had a third one of our investors. He had to pull out at the last minute. So Akia will show two of her properties, and she is in the house. Luis, we just talked to him. Um, so we're going to go through this pretty quickly. Um, but I want you guys to ask them questions. Some questions should be obvious to ask them, but ask them, definitely ask them questions, um, because I want you guys to know that if they can do it, you guys can do it too. It's just about taking action. So here's what you'll learn today: how deals are actually found, how they're funded. So we'll talk about that, how they funded their deals, how profits are created, and then we'll go over some real numbers. And again, you guys, please ask questions. Don't leave this webinar, and we're not going to be on long. Both of them have kind of hard stops. And so we're not going to be on long, but please ask them questions. Why case studies matter, real world learning. And so you gain insights from actual deals, not theory. So we're going to go over some actual deals. We'll show you a few pictures, see what actually works. So what's working out here? Understand proven strategies in the DMV market. Understand deal structure. So we'll talk about how they structured their deals and break down each deal and show how each deal is put together. And then learn from real examples and real live people. So they're going to come on, and it's not going to be their AI clone that's on, it's going to be them live and in person. So there's three parts to each deal. So we'll definitely go over how they found the deals, how they funded the deals, and what they did with the deals, their exit strategy. So let's bring on Akia. Akia, you are up first. Akia, are you with us?
I'm here.
How's it going, Akia?
I'm good, and you?
Pretty good. You don't want to show your pretty face tonight?
No, no, not today. Not today.
Okay. It's
Next
all
time,
good.
Greg.
It's all good. It's all good. So tell us a little bit about yourself, really quickly. How you got started in investing, how long you've been investing, and how long have you been part of our platinum coaching program?
Yeah. So hi everyone, and then yeah, apologies in advance. I'm a little under the weather. That's why I'll be camera off right now. But I found out about the coaching program just from, well, I found about Greg from like YouTube. I stumbled across, he had a lot of great content and still does on YouTube. And then I ran into him in person at church, and then he was like, "Hey, join my 4-day course." And then it's been history since. I have been investing officially. I bought my first property over 3 years ago. And then I've since bought two additional properties. And um, yeah, that's, I think I answered your question. Did I answer all your questions, Greg?
Yeah, so you've been investing for how long? Has it been longer than 3 years?
It's so I've been at my first property. I actually closed 3 years ago, but I've been like, in I consider myself like actually been investing. I'm doing air quotes, like attending networking events, networking with other investors, attending various like RIA meetups and stuff. I've been doing that for years, and I've been, before I even closed on my first property, it took me at least like a year just to like make offers, go, because I was buying a 4 unit in DC. So that took some time. But yeah, it's I bought my first property like 3 years ago. Over 3 years, a little bit over 3 years ago.
And so do you consider yourself a full-time investor or part-time investor?
No, I'm a part-time investor. I'm a full-time attorney.
So I've got your J Street property up. I just have the MLS printout up. I guess I'll show some pictures. Tell us
Yeah.
about this. So how did you find this property? Kind of what were the terms of the deal? I'll kind of scroll because this property actually, this is when you bought the property, had kind of been renovated already, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's actually that was prior to it me buying it. So the prior owner bought it at that state, and then she actually did very minimal work from what you're looking at here on the pictures. She just put down new LVP, and she bought it at four. I think she bought it at like 440, and since she ended up 2 years later, she ended up selling. Yeah, the carpet was up. She put down LVP throughout the whole house. She did add two rooms in the basement. Excuse me. So she did update the basement. So she bought it at 440, and she ended up selling it to me at 450. Like 3 years later, 3 years later. Comes to find out, I mean, she was months away from being underwater. Hence why when she closed, she literally walked away with $10,000 on listed out on the Alta statement. So
So you found a property. It was on the MLS. So you found it along with an agent. Did you find this or the agent found it?
I I found it, but I made an offer through an agent.
Okay. And then tell us about that process, because I remember it was a lot of back and forth, I think. A lot of negotiation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got under contract before I joined Greg's platinum coaching program, and like had I joined first, I would have went into this with a completely different just way more knowledge and a different mindset. So I went in, I did I got a little overly eager. I think I went in I pretty much I know for a fact I overpaid for this house. I know I overpaid. I know there's a lot of people who are saying, I overpaid. I know I overpaid. So that's just what it is. I just was so eager to find a house that fit this specification, right? That was like over 16, 1700 square feet. This one is a little bit all three floors included, so the two floors in the basement. It's a little bit under 2,000 square feet. Um, so I could do the model that I do, which was have at least five plus bedrooms for Section 8. So I just got a little ahead of myself. I got a little eager. My agent, um, like the seller's agent was, I likened her to like a bulldog, but in a good way, right? Like you would want an agent that's a bulldog on your side, right? To advocate for you. But on the seller side, she was completely just bulldozing over my agent. So that was I learned a lot from even that, watching that play out. Yeah.
And so what was the scope of work? Because I'm showing this picture right here because I know that this space here by the kitchen you turned into a bedroom.
Yeah. So I ended up yeah, I enclosed that dining room and made it a sixth bedroom. So there's one on the main floor, which that's the main floor, and then there's three upstairs, and then there's two in the basement. Um, so yeah, when I bought the property, it was turnkey. So yeah, again, this photo that these ones is when the prior owner bought it, and then again, she did very minimal work, and then she sold it. I did. So one of the rooms had to be considered a legal bedroom. So in the basement, it wasn't legal because the window sill was more than 44 inches off of the ground, so it didn't meet DC code. So I had to create a window well, um, and to turn one of the bedrooms in the basement to a legal bedroom. So adding the room in the dining room, well, changing the dining room to a room, and then making one of the bedrooms in the basement a legal bedroom was um the scope of what I had to do.
Okay, so now it's four bedrooms, no, six bedrooms. So six bedrooms, two and a half bathrooms. You're renting it out to a voucher holder. And how much rent are you getting for this one?
Yeah. So it's three and a half bathrooms, Greg, but I'm getting right now I'm getting 7,000 in rent for this place. So I'm still cash flowing. So it's a good investment. It still is a good investment. It's just, sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So yeah, I just learned my lesson, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
So,
And
So
Kia,
that's what it is now. That's what it looks like now, Greg. Uh-huh. Go ahead,
so
Valerie.
if I may ask, initially you felt that you paid too much, but now that you have gone in and added two additional bedrooms, an additional bathroom, now you're on the upside of that investment, right?
I only bought this. I closed last Aug. Sorry, last. When did I buy this? Last March. Greg, you have me thinking in my head. Did I buy my first property 4 years ago or 3 years ago? I have to look at my deed because I'm like. But anyways, um. So sorry to answer your question, Valerie. Um, I. I mean, I haven't. I'm actually. I was talking to a lender the other day. I know I'm all over the place, but I was talking to a lender the other day, and the conversation came up about me possibly doing a rate in term because refinance. Granted, there's not that much equity in the house to answer your question, Valerie. So, like, when I closed, so I bought this at 450. When I closed, it got appraised literally at 452. Um, and that was a year ago. However, to do a refinance, well, I didn't know that, but I can, if I have at least 5% of equity in the house or 95%, I don't know how it goes, but long story short, I have enough equity, very little, in order to do a rate in term where I could just get a lower, at least a lower interest rate, which mine when I closed last year was pretty, it was I have a 7.37, which is on the higher end. And you guys know interest rates right now are like 6.8. I'm hearing even a little bit lower, but you know.
But even
I
still, this would be considered a good investment, even though there's not much equity. However, there is good cash flow. Is that correct, Greg?
that's how I look at it, and that's what I told her. Her and I talked last week, and that's what I told her. I was like, "You're making, I think she's making close to $3,000 a month in positive cash flow. The equity is going to catch up. It's in DC. DC's appreciating at a very, very high rate, and so even though in her mind she bought with little equity." Over time, that equity is going to be there and the cash flow is going to increase. And so because, and Akia really knows the voucher holder program really, really well. I want to say Section 8, but she always says we can't say Section 8. Um, but because she knows that program, like really, really well, she could almost write a book on DC voucher holders. She's able to get higher rates, and so I think she's done very, very well. I mean, she's cash flowing. The equity will soon enough be there that she wants, and so I think she did well on this one.
Thank you, Greg.
Other than you thinking you bought the property wrong, and any other lessons learned?
Yeah, like, and then this is one thing you teach us, right? Is like always negotiate, always renegotiate, always renegotiate. And so again, remember guys, I went under contract and then I want to say shortly thereafter I joined Greg's Platinum Coaching Group, and it's like my mind shift is completely turned around as far as like, making offers, negotiating once you're under contract, how to even crunch numbers for a deal. Like I just, I didn't know these things, right? So I was just like, hey, it's cash flowing and it's in DC and it's big house and so one thing I tried to do when I was already under contract, I did try to renegotiate several times, and i- i- in addition to that, the seller's agent, she was just super aggressive, but in a good way, right? I can't stress, if she was on my team I would just feel invincible. Like, she was really, but to watch my agent be kind of pushed around and having to step in, and it was a learning lesson for me where I'm like, I'm having to coach my agent. Like, there was times I was writing out to my agent things to say and be like, "Hey, please just copy and paste this and send this to the seller's agent," right? So having learning to have how to navigate that, and learning that as a buyer, you always have the leverage, right? And I think that's something you teach Greg, is like, we have the leverage as the buyer, and I feel like in this instance I just felt like I was, my side, my agent, me, even my lender was just getting completely pushed around left and right, and I felt like I was like doing her a favor by buying the house. It was not a good feeling at all, buying this property from
How
start to
much
end.
how much did the seller actually walk away with?
10,000.
So she didn't have much equity either.
Not at all, not at all.
Okay. All right, you guys, any other questions before we move to the next property? Go ahead, Winnie.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this case study, Greg. And is it Akia? Uh,
Yes.
I wanted to know, right, because you mentioned that they did an appraisal, right, and it came out to 452. So
Yes.
that would represent the ARV, correct?
Yes. Well, this was turnkey, but yes, if you want to, yes, you put it
Oh,
like
so
that.
my next follow-up question was like, how much did you actually put into the property to realize the cash flow? And how soon did you realize your cash flow?
Yeah. So this house was from day, as soon as I closed, I could have put a tenant in. I just, because I wanted to have it, like add add one extra bedroom and then turn one room that was already a room, turn it into a legal bedroom. So I put in, I want to say I maybe put in like, I think it was like 8,500, maybe it's just 10,000. Um, and then thereafter I got a tenant in. Um, which is funny, the tenant I got in was actually a 5 bedroom voucher holder tenant. I actually didn't need to add a 6 bedroom, but yeah. So it was pretty quickly after I closed.
Thank you. So
Mhm.
did the property appraise some more after that, or did not pursue what the the renewed value is after adding the 6 bedroom?
So that's a good question, Winnie. So like when I was talking to the lender about recently about doing a rate in term refinance, and I hope I'm saying it right, Greg, please correct me. Again, I didn't even know this was a thing. Um I I'm almost positive I'm going to go down that path, just given where interest rates are right now, and they're going to send out an appraiser to reappraise the house. So I'm hoping, with the addition of like again 2 legal rooms, I'm doing air quotes, and then just time, right? It's been a year since I closed, over a year since I closed. Yeah, I'm hoping and I think it did, because just knowing the Deanwood area as well, I do believe it went up.
Thank you. Good.
Jackie, I'm gonna get to you. Let me ask you this question though, Akia. I'm trying to figure out why you want to refinance. I mean, I think you want to refinance to get the interest rate down. I'm assuming for more cash flow. But when you refinance this time, your mortgage balance is going to go up. I mean, you're going to probably finance your closing costs. And so my
Mm.
question is, why are you refinancing now? Because you're not going to do a cash out refinance. There's not enough equity. And to me, you're getting a lot of cash flow already. Why do you want to refinance?
Well, and that's a good question, Greg. Like, I think, yeah, I would have to call you and talk to you more about offline.
Okay,
Like,
we
I
can talk.
literally
We can
had,
talk offline.
okay, because there's so much I don't know. So it's like I really have
Okay.
to like ask you more questions.
Okay, we'll talk offline. Go ahead, Jackie.
Okay, thank you, and thanks, Akia, for sharing about your property. I just want to know, how much did you bring to the table, and how did you finance it?
Yeah, good question. So this one I used a program which I had to bring very little down. So it was a conventional loan.
So that means you put 20%, or did you buy it as your primary home?
It was a first time buyers. It was a primary
Okay,
home
okay.
program. Yeah. Hmm.
Um, a kid, the house that we met at, did you, how long after the fixing up did it take for you to do what you was doing with that, or did you do anything with that yet?
Well, we're gonna give us a minute on that one, Olivia. We're getting ready to go over that one in a second.
Okay.
That's our next property. Go ahead, Valerie.
Kia, I have 2 questions for you. Number one, what are air quotes?
Oh, you're joking, Valerie, right?
I'm thinking it's something to do with real estate, networking.
Oh,
Valerie.
quote unquote.
Is
like
that,
this, Valerie. Can you see me, Valerie?
I see you. Okay.
And then,
Okay. Moving on. Next question. Any of your investment properties, did you have to legalize the bottom level um, because the height was not appropriate? And if so, what did you have to do? Like if it didn't meet the code, what is it, 7 feet? If it didn't meet code, did you have to do anything to meet code?
So that's
no,
actually a great. Go ahead, Greg.
no, go ahead. The issue wasn't the 7 feet, it was the window, but go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that's gonna be a great segue to the next. If you're gonna hop to Nash, Greg, because that was something I was contemplating for Nash
Okay, we
to
can get
dig
to that.
down.
We can get to that one. We'll get that. We'll get that. Angela, go ahead. Angela, did you have your hand up?
Yes, yes. So Akia, you said you bought it as a conventional loan with your primary residence. So you live there as well as the tenants that you put in?
No, after I reach the term in which I can move out and then start renting it out.
Okay.
All right, you guys. Any more questions? All right, we'll move to the next one. So this is the property. We actually toured this property. I don't know, maybe a month ago, I want to say. And so this is the property that Olivia was talking about. We toured this property. This is a property that she recently purchased. This is how it looked when she bought the property. She had to clean it out. She's got lots of good stories about this one. This is also in Northeast in Deanwood. Hoarder, hoarder, hoarder home. Was there some writing on the wall here? Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think I have some pictures. Let's see. I think I have some pictures of it. Let's see. On how it is now. There we go. So you did a great job renovating this.
Thank you.
All right, so tell us about this one. So this one's also in Deanwood. Um, how'd you find this one? Kind of what the numbers? Why did you think this was a great deal?
So this one was interesting. There was actually another one in Deanwood that I had my eyes on, and I really wanted that one. And so I made an offer on that, the other one on Just Street that I wanted. And then I made an offer. So this one was it was a short sale, and they were not allowing touring. You could not, you had to make an offer sight unseen. And it was listed incorrectly. I didn't know it at the time. It was listed as a 3 bedroom, 1 bath, and they were asking 275. So, I mean, I was like, I told my agent at the time, I was like, I mean, just throw out 215. I just like pulled that number out of nowhere. I was like, just give them it was so low that I was like, if they pick it up, amazing. If they don't, whatever. So I throw that offer out there, and then my mind is like set on the other one on Just Street. And then I find out Just Street is picked up. I'm like really disappointed. So my agent and I were still looking at other properties, and long and behold, the seller's agent, well, it was a short sale, and also it was an estate sale, because the owner had passed. So it was two power of attorneys that were actually representing the estate. They call the seller's agent, for the estate, calls and like, we're thinking about picking up your client's offer. And I was like, oh wow, you know? So fast forward, although I got my offer was picked up in, I want to say July, I didn't actually close until October, because the whole process for short sales takes a while. Um, and when they picked up my offer 215, and then my offer was to instructing them that they have to do trash out, and then they came back and was like, no, you have to do trash out. And then I was like, all right, take off more money. So we ended up at 207. So that was the price that it got sold at. And while even though I was not supposed to, when I was actively under contract, because it was a squatter house, sometimes I would just pop my head into the house. Super unsafe, not a smart thing to do. There's oftentimes, yeah, there's people there in the house. But when I popped my head in, I found out it was actually a 4 bedroom, 3 full bath. So that was like hitting the gold mine, right? So this is a blessing, like blessing on top of blessings with this particular property.
All right. So did you keep it a 4 bedroom, 3 bath?
No. So I added 2 additional bedrooms. One is legal by the Department of Building standards. The other one is technically a 5 bedroom, one office, but for Section 8 placement purposes, I'm listing it as a 6 bedroom house.
So tell us, how did you fund this one?
Yeah, I used a hard money lender who, if the numbers work, so if my after repair value, and this is not just me, this is any buyer, if the after repair value, um if 70% of the after repair, if your all in cost, so your purchase price and your renovation cost comes in 70% or less than your after repair value, you don't have to bring anything to the table. So my after repair value, I was shooting for a 475,000, and my uh acquisition cost was 207,000, and then my renovation cost was a hundred thousand. So I would be all, this is before I like close, right? This is before I even close on my acquisition loan, right? So my all in would have been then would have been 307, but my after repair value was actually ended up being appraised before I closed, right, at 475. So I was well underneath that 70%. So I didn't bring anything to the table for that, for
It-
this
it-
for this purchase.
so, but it was more than that. You had to have a certain credit score, right? And past performance.
That's true. I guess, yeah, those are things I forget to factor in. Yeah.
So you had to have some past performance and then a certain credit score with this particular hard money lender. So with this hard money lender, you didn't have to bring any money to the table.
Correct.
Go ahead, Valerie.
Greg, what is your position on properties that are sight unseen?
I don't want you guys buying property sight unseen. But she didn't, she actually looked inside the house. She was able to get in. So she didn't buy this one sight unseen. But my preference is for you guys not to buy a property sight unseen. But Akia, you were able to get in. Wasn't safe for you to get in, but you actually got in, right?
I did. After my offer was picked up, then yeah, I did get in. And yeah.
Yeah, Valerie, my preference for you is not to buy a property sight unseen. Go ahead, Marcia. You with us, Marcia? Winnie, go ahead, Winnie.
Thank you. So my question was in relation to the terms of the offer. Like, you know what your offer term was? It's 215 and then you dropped to 207. What were the other terms of the offer? Knowing that it was a short sale, what were the terms? Do you remember?
Did you
um
ask did you ask for any closing help?
me, no, I didn't.
Just FYI on that one, Kia. When
Hmm.
it's a short sale, it's almost standard that the
Hmm.
short sale lender will pay 3% of your closing.
Really?
Yeah, just remember that.
Even
Uh,
for a hard money lender too?
no, 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 no. The short sale lender
Oh, the short sale lender.
yeah,
Oh
yeah, the
wow.
short
I
sale
didn't
lender.
know that.
Yeah. So you could have used that with your hard money lender
Mm.
even though he didn't have to bring any money to the table. But just FYI on that one.
Well,
Uh,
that's good to know.
Hi, Greg and Akia. This is Marcia. Sorry, I had trouble unmuting. Um, but I wanted to know, Akia, you were saying this was a trash out. What does that mean?
Yeah. So I had to trash out have the property cleaned out.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's another thing I learned too, which Greg, you actually told me to do this, and I someone else was like, "Don't do it," and I didn't do it because I got scared. But always listen to Greg. Short story. Greg said, "Hey, before you do a walkthrough with your contractors, trash out the house, right? Granted, I didn't close yet, so I'm doing walkthroughs because my hard money lender needs a scope of work so they can lend on the project, right? So I had to get a scope of work drawn out, but in order to do that, I had to walk through with my contractors. So my contractors, I walked through like three different contractors. We're stepping over trash, and it was a hoarder house, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now moving forward, once I ended up getting the house trashed out after I closed, it was funny because the house does not look nearly as bad had I just did a trash out, and I probably would have gotten a cheaper quote from my contractor. But again, like little stuff like that, you live and you learn.
Mm-hmm. So,
so Mark, this
mhm.
is what, so you see all this trash?
Yeah.
Well, just cleaning it up. That's what a trash out is. Just cleaning all this trash out.
Okay.
This is what she had to clean out.
So there are times where you are thinking about buying the house, but in order to get an accurate quote without owning it first, you might just have to pay for having the trash cleaned out just to get an accurate assessment.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, you want to be confident and sure that you're going to get the
Mm-hmm.
property. You don't want to pay
Hmm.
for a trash out and then you don't get the property.
Right.
You just have to be careful. You actually saw this property, Marsha. I don't know if you remember or not.
Okay, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is
I do remember.
yeah, you saw this.
Okay. Thank you. And
So
also, one more thing. Akia, so your first property was a conventional loan, and then thereafter you did hard money on your subsequent properties?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that because the hard money, lender would not necessarily lend to you as a first time real estate investor or?
No, I'm just hard money. I mean, I'm closing in my LLC. Like this, I bought my LLC.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so I can get in and do the work. Like it's like leveraging debt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus instead of coming to the table, you're putting down X amount of percent of the loan to buy the house. You're with hard money, you can just if the numbers work, you don't have to put down anything. Or maybe
Okay.
sometimes 10%, sometimes, so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
so just to be clear, normally on a hard money loan, you do have to put down money, 10%, sometimes even 20%, but we try to keep it to 10. She used a hard money lender that because of her credit score, um, because how well she bought the property, I teach, most of you guys have been to my 4-day course. Um, I teach the Mayo formula. She stuck to that. She bought it at 70% of the after repair value minus repair costs, which means she had at least 30% equity in the property. And because she had some experience, this particular hard money lender, she didn't have to put down any money. Nancy, did you have a question
I just needed clarification on what you just said.
on what I just said?
Because Akia had said she didn't have to put money down, but you just
Oh,
explained that it's because of it's not the norm to not put money down, but if a deal, if the numbers are very good, there's a possibility.
yeah, but
So you
just,
answered my question.
oh, okay. Okay. All right. And then so
And
fast,
oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead. Go
No, I was
ahead.
just gonna circle back to Valerie's question, Greg. So Valerie, so for this one, it actually, I don't know, Greg, if you want to scroll to the basement, it actually is not. The basement is when I started, the basement was 6 feet 8 inches tall, and that was when it was the studs were open, so the ceiling where you could actually see the beams in the ceiling, it was 6'8". Now legal height requirement is 7 feet. However, I was not going to start digging down, right? Because now we're talking about you have to dig down into the basement ground, then you have to do underpinning. There's a whole slew of permitting that you need to get. And we're talking anywhere from like 15, 20, 30K. Um, so what I did was well, one, I did white on the walls and the ceiling. I already knew I was going to do white. But for the flooring, this was interesting. I had to look at this up. The floor tiles are, I think they're 24 by 24, which my contractor tried to talk me out of them. He like, oh, these are for commercial ground floors. And, he was doing all this stuff. But if you do like the bigger the tiles, especially when they have that stacked alignment, right? It actually opens up visually. It plays with your eyes, right? It opens it up and makes the space look bigger than it actually is. So I mean, the house appraised with if I got a appraiser, so I'm in the process of refinancing, right? If I got an appraiser who was really like a stickler and who wanted to just like pull out his measuring tape, and or if the even if the space looked tight, he could have pulled out his measuring tape if he wanted to, and like, hey, this is not illegal, right? There's so many things that could have happened. But anyways, the house got appraised. I was aiming for an after repair value of 475. It got appraised a few weeks ago for 525. So yeah.
And so what does that mean for you? I think you're all in at what, 307 or a little more
Uh,
than 307, and this got appraised for 525. And I know you were shooting for that number. What does that mean for you?
I can just pull up more cash when I do my 80% cash out refinance.
Right. And so the money that you did put up some money for some rehab, you were able to get that back. Also, really quickly, talk about um, Fund and Grow. Like you used some money from a credit card, from business credit, for this project as well, right?
I did. So like even buying so Fund and Grow is it allows you to take out business credit card, uh, you know, business credit, but they distribute it amongst credit cards, up to $250,000. It again, this is going to be underneath your LLC, so it won't show up on your own credit report unless you default and you stop paying or whatever the case may be. And it's 0% interest for the first year, and use it like you would, use a regular credit card. Where that was helpful for me was like I had to buy appliances. I used my credit card for that. I had to there was stuff that came up that were just unexpected. I definitely went over my 100K renovation budget. Not by a lot, but there's just stuff I just had to pay for that my hard money construction kind of pool of funds where it was gone, right? So yeah, Fund and Grow, that definitely helped me kind of pick up where I was short.
Okay. And then with the refinance, so you're refinancing into a DSCR loan, right?
Correct.
And so you're gonna, because you are able to get the appraisal so high, you're able to cash out and pay back the credit card and whatever else you're going to do with the money. But more importantly, use some of that money, use some of that capital to buy your next project.
Correct. That's correct. Correct.
Um, and then you're ready for another project, right?
After a vacation. Yeah.
Did somebody recommend a vacation for you?
No, I might just kind of pack up my car and go to somewhere in the forest and stuff in Maryland or Virginia, out in the middle of nowhere, and do like a glamping experience. So I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Hello, Akia. Hello.
Hi.
I'm still waiting for my call. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah. I'm so sorry. Yes, I
okay,
will
but
definitely
I
let you.
got two questions. One of them is the one that I asked earlier, and the other one is it such thing as lifting the ceiling opposed to to make it high enough downstairs?
That's a great Greg question because I don't know the answer.
Um, so if we're talking about the basement and
Yeah.
not having 7 feet, you can go down. I think that IKEA actually explained that very well. Kind of the cons of digging down. I mean, you just kind of blow out your budget. It's very risky, especially for an interior unit. Um, I
Can you
mean,
take
you can
up?
underpin, it's costly. It generally costs 15, $20,000. So I wouldn't necessarily do that. I mean, I've done that before. And then I wouldn't lift, you can lift the ceiling, especially if on the main level, those ceilings are high enough. You can do that, but that's too intense. And so I think what she did was good. Let's say that she would have went into the house and the ceilings were like 6'5", 6 feet 5 inches. She may have made a decision not to buy the house because it would have taken too much to get close to the 7 feet. Oftentimes, even if we're close enough to the 7 feet, we'll go ahead and buy the house and really not do anything. Sometimes we'll even like she's got drywall on her ceiling, so she's got a ceiling. Sometimes we'll leave it open to leave the illusion of it being 7 feet. But we're not, especially if we're really not going to dig down or go up a level. We generally speaking, we don't do that. It can be done, but we don't do that. Charlene, did you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to know about the funding that she was talking about. The funding grow for the 250,000 for 0% interest.
You want to explain that, Akia?
Sure, yeah. I'll so yeah, you just I think you have to have a minimum of a credit score of 720. There's a sign up fee that you have to pay. But if you have someone else who's also approved and interested in doing it, you guys can split the sign up fee. And there's three different rounds. And Louis, you can feel free to hop in here because I only did round one. Which so you get approved to however much it's up to 250,000. I got approved up to 250,000, and my first round was like 52,000. And the subsequent rounds would have been higher, right, going all the way up to 250. But after round one, I just stopped because I didn't. Again, just knowing myself, I just try to use credit very wisely. So I didn't do. Luis, did you do all three rounds?
Now you're right, Akia. I thought it was 4 rounds.
Oh, I don't. You would know more
Yeah,
than me because I stopped after one.
I think it's 4 rounds. I haven't started my second round because they kind of make you go through the whole process. I mean, you explained it like perfect, Akia. I mean, for my experience, I got around 50 and they tapped me. They were like, "Are you ready for your next round?" And I was like, "Sure." And so they asked me to put some money on the credit cards, which I just happened to need the money for my current rental. And so I was able to do that. And they want me to pay it back aggressively. So it's not as easy as just, reapply. Sometimes they ask you to do things in addition to what you and I did initially, Kia. But I agree with everything you said.
Okay, good. Winnie, did you have a question?
No, no, no. I need to get some more information. This is awesome. No, thank you.
Okay. All right, you guys. Any more questions for Kia?
You didn't. Akia didn't answer the one question that I asked at first. Is that not appropriate? Did you?
Oh, go
No, go
ahead.
ahead and ask it again.
Did you Did you do anything with it yet, other than fix it up?
Oh no! Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. No, I fixed it up. I've been showing it actively to families. I haven't found the right family yet. But I'm still actively showing. For me, it's not about just, hey, let me get the first family who comes in to move in. I'm very particular about who I want to move in there, because the goal is to have them move in and stay 10 plus years, right? If you can imagine having a vacancy of a $7,000 um rental, like that's and then not only imagine if I move a family in and they leave, a year in, whatever, not only am I missing out on that on $7,000 because I just right then can you also factor in the amount of money I would have to spend to fix up
Again,
a house of this size? So I'm being very strategic with the family that I choose.
that makes sense.
Okay, Jackie, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you again. I know you said about how you found the property. You said you had your eye on it, but you didn't like go into detail how you found the properties. Could you elaborate if you don't mind, please?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so it was on the MLS. So I just saw it in the MLS, and I just again it was and the funny thing, it was like when I made an offer, it was on the market for I want to say like 6, 7 months. Like it was just sitting there. And I think a reason why it was sitting there was one, 275. Well, first off, the pictures were just you see the pictures, right? And then it was like sight unseen. And then on top of that, I think the fact that it was three bed, one bath. I think a lot of it, people were just like, it's not worth the money. Versus me, I just was like, hey, what? Because I didn't care about getting the property or not. I just threw out any what, in hindsight, was probably a ridiculous number. But it's like, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose. So yeah.
Okay, go ahead,
Uh,
Winnie.
Okay, so I wanted to know, so it was on the MLS. Thank you for that. So I wanted to find out in your offer, the terms, did you put in any terms for inspection or was it just as is? And if you did put in some term for it or days for inspection, was that because you wanted to bring your contractor in to get the hard money underwritten?
So yeah, I had all of the regular inspections. Yeah, I had yeah, financing. I had all of them, but those didn't kick. They my inspection periods or my contingencies. Sorry, I had all the contingencies. They didn't kick in until after the short sale was approved, which it ended up. The bank approved it. Um, and then so that means I was under contract for I want to say June, July, August, September, October, like 3 months, and then they were like, hey, it's approved. And then I started like my inspection. I already knew financing was going to be fine. Oh, well, actually, Well, yeah, finance was going to be fine. But if let's say the as is appraisal, okay, and I'll drop my email address, or Greg can give my email address, or my what. However, I would love to keep having this conversation, but I also know, I don't want to take up too much of the spotlight. But I like I already knew if the ARV appraisal, which is called a subject to appraisal, if that would have came in lower than 475, or lower where I was no longer, my all-in cost was actually going to be greater than 70% of the after repair value, I would have had to bring money to the table. So financing would have been fine regardless. It was just a matter between having to bring nothing versus having to bring something down. And then inspection, it didn't really matter what the inspection report said because I already knew, right? I was doing like pretty significant renovations to the house. And then, yeah, financing, appraisal, and inspection. Mhm.
So was your contractor pretty much your inspector, or did you actually have an inspection?
Yeah, no, I'm old. I'm kind of old school in that retrospect. And Greg, correct me if I'm wrong. I know where I think you're from the school of thought where it's like you don't really need an inspector to come out. You can just use your contractor. Or even like, I mean, Greg has so much industry knowledge where it's like he probably can just, do a
Yeah.
walkthrough himself and know, right? Right, Greg? Are you
No,
pro an actual inspection?
I agree. If you can put an inspection in the contract, yeah, an inspection contingency, if you can do that, go ahead and do that. Absolutely. I highly recommend it, especially if you're a novice investor, definitely put that in there. Because at the very least, if you go in there, even if it's just with the contractor and you see the scope of work is such that it's going to cost too much or more than you thought, then you can use inspection contingency to get out the contract.
No, I think Greg, I
Um,
think her question is, would you even so yes to have an inspection contingency in there, but would you actually use an inspector, or would you just like, hey, now I'll do a walkthrough with my contractor?
I don't normally use
Right.
an inspector. I don't use an inspector because we already know they're going to come up with a whole bunch of stuff. And so I just use go ahead, just use my contractor. A couple more questions, and then we got to let Akia go.
Oh,
Let's see. Marcia, go ahead, Marcia. You have another question? Or Jackie, did you have another question?
Greg, Greg, I think my question is to Luis because I was wondering.
Hold on. Hold on, Olivia. Luis is coming on. He's going to show a property. So save that one for Luis. I think we're good. Last question I have, Kia, and we'll get you out of here, is what advice would you give everybody?
That's a broad question. What advice? Um, what advice would I give I would say be I would say I know this sounds cliche, but like never stop, never stop learning, never stop networking, never stop asking questions. I feel like sometimes I don't think there's anything wrong. Like I don't believe in there's a dumb question, but I sometimes I'll ask a question and like when I was in, when we had our platinum coaching classes, I just felt comfortable asking a question because we're all learning. I don't think you ever stop learning as an investor. Never stop watching YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on real estate. I talk to a lot of I think almost all of my friends are real estate investors in DC, so I need some more friends that are not investors. I love looking at properties. I can never get bored of looking at properties. I love driving around neighborhoods, and so walking in properties, actually looking outside of properties, researching properties. So I genuinely love real estate as an industry, as a just in a lot, right? So, and that's another thing I do want to add this too is I do think sometimes people think real estate is just kind of like this sexy, you get in, you get rich quick, and then you get out. And so I would probably say think about what your why is. And of course, we all want to make money, right? But just think about what it is. Is it to your why? Is it to build generational wealth? Is it because, you know, whatever your why is? And I would say focus on that, I guess.
And how much did the platinum coaching program slash the accountability group you were in help you?
A lot. It really did. Um, a lot from just knowledge, from community. Because I was, before joining the platinum coaching program, I was, like I said, I was actively already going to networking events, speaking with investors. Anytime I'd meet an investor, I'm like, hey, can I grab coffee with you? Like I was one of those type of people where I just had no shame in my game when it came to just wanting to learn more and network with other investors. um, but to actually then join a community and to hear other people, talking about their wins and their losses, and I have no shame to talk about any of my losses, like, the property before I overpaid. And yes, I'll make it up in the future, but and there's so many other losses that happy to talk offline about. But to actually be around other people and they're also talking about their wins and their losses, it's motivating, it's encouraging, you feel supportive, you feel seen. um and you're held accountable, and you can ask all the questions you want to ask, and you have like definitely like an OG, Greg. You have him you're there, you could pick all the knowledge from him, and it was really, really great. Seriously.
I appreciate that, but you also learned a lot from everybody else that was in the group. Like I think Cammy brought the Fun and Grow. Um,
Mhm.
we shared lenders and contractors, and I mean it was just good. It was just good for you and your role. And so having said all that, I appreciate your time on a Sunday. Thank you so much, you guys. You guys, thank Kia in the chat. Show your appreciation. Hopefully, we can have you on again, Kia. Um, anytime I ask you to help me on one of these webinars or to speak, you're always there. So I really appreciate it. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Yeah,
much.
happy.
thanks,
Of course.
Thank you so much,
You,
Akia. It
you're
was
welcome.
quite a bit of knowledge that you shared, and I always
very helpful.
enjoy hearing your experiences. And I pick up a little something each time that you speak. So thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you.
Kia. I
Thank you
told
so
you what I
much.
want to do when I grow up, right?
Yeah, he said you want to be like me, my Gemini sister. My Gemini sister.
All
But
right.
I'm happy to help, and yeah, I'll drop my contact in the chat. And I'm gonna stick around because I have to hear about Luis's property. I haven't even seen it. I have to hear this, Luis. So,
Oh, but you know
uh,
what? My question might not be for Louise. Then I'm. This is what I want to know. Did wholesaling property help your approval for a loan in it, or did you do wholesaling?
I did not. No.
Oh, okay. So who can answer that?
We'll answer it with Luis. Luis, how's it
Oh,
going?
okay.
I'm blessed, man. How you doing? Hey, Greg, how dare you put me after IKEA? I mean, it's
I
a hard
know.
act to follow.
I know.
Hard act to follow, man.
I kind of want to just end it now. Let's
I'm,
just
I'm
end
gonna try. I'm gonna try to. Let me try to answer the last question.
Anthony,
You're
go
gonna
ahead. Go ahead.
you're gonna always have to wholesale. You're gonna always have to do part of wholesaling, like the car, right? You gotta call somebody from nowhere. And so when Akia found that deal, she had to speak to somebody. And so you're gonna have wholesaler tools that you're gonna use. You might not necessarily wholesale that property. So don't ever get away from wholesaling because when you speak to a new seller or buyer, you're going to have to have the initial conversation. So hopefully that answers your question about wholesaling.
No, I'm saying if you wholesale the property, say you don't qualify without you need to wholesale the property, do wholesaling, yep, you qualify to purchase uh, later.
What wholesaling will give you is money. It'll give you what I call dry powder in order to put down the 20%. But I myself, I'm not a wholesaler. I follow Greg and I asked Greg a long time ago, Greg, how did you get to where you got to? And Greg buys and holds. As you can see, IKEA buys and holds. I buy and hold. And so IKEA and myself, we want to get to where Greg's at. And so I would say to you, you can wholesale if you want, but my main goal in life is to buy and hold.
And so also to answer your question, Olivia, um, wholesaling can help you in terms of financing because a lender is looking for past performance. Some lenders will accept you doing a wholesale deal and your LLC being on a wholesale deal. Some lenders will accept that as past performance. Some
Okay.
will, a lot won't. A lot of the lenders in terms of past performance want to see that you've done a flip or a buy and hold. Some will accept a wholesale deal. Now, all that really means is for your first couple deals, you may have to put down more money. Once you get to like where Akia is, and she's got, two or three properties under her belt, now she can show, and they're buy and holds. Now she can show past performance. She's got the credit score. So now she's at the point where now she can, on a hard money loan, like she did for this last property on Nash, she didn't have to put any money down. And then because she bought the property right, and so she bought the property right, she's going through a refinance with the DSCR loan. Because her appraisal was high enough, she's going to be able to do a cash out refinance. And so she's not going to have to put any money down on the DSCR. Um, but not only that, because she bought it right, she's actually going to get cash back. And so you'll get to that point, Olivia. Everybody else will get to that point if you're not already there. But it just takes time. And maybe you've got to go through one or two properties until you can get to a point where you're not putting any money down, like a Kia. So quickly, I know we're running out of time. Luis, tell us about this property. I know this property is in Baltimore. I know, well, you explain it to first tell us a little bit about you. How long have you been investing? How long have you been part of our coaching program?
Thank you, Greg, and good evening, everyone. Good night. Um, so I've been investing for about 3 to 4 years. I first started out with stocks, moved over to precious metals, then crypto. Then I started with land. And I was very successful in land, pretty successful. And then one day I saw one of Greg's videos, became interested, spoke to him, attended one of his 4 day courses. After the first day, I was sold. And I called Greg immediately that evening. I was like, "Hey, how do I get in?" So Greg negotiated a hard deal with me, but I finally got into the program. So that's a little bit about myself. I do work full time. I do this part time, but I'm kind of sort of like a Kia. I'm not on a Kia's level by any means, but I like to look at properties. I like to speak to other investors. I do. I'm a broken record when it comes to my accountability group. I believe in marketing. If you don't look for it, seek it, you're not going to find it. So that's a little bit about myself.
So this property, I don't have a lot of great These are pictures that I was able to get from the MLS. And so tell us what drew you to this property right here.
Sure. What drew me to the property was the number one, the price. Number two, the status and the status of it. Um, Number three, the location that was in. It's in Baltimore, Evanston Village. I work in Baltimore. I'm there every day, so it's something that I can drive to on a regular basis if I needed to. Excuse me. So that's what drew me to it, and I love the fact that it has a separate garage in the back. Not many properties have that. It's a corner house. It had 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. It had everything that I was looking for in the property. It was in my buy box.
And so you bought the property, if I remember correctly, it was 150, or was it
Yep.
150 or 160?
I mean, if you want to count, I would say it was cheaper than that. But yeah, we'll see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what else drew you to it? I know it was turnkey.
Yeah, pretty much it was turnkey, but it needed some small things. It needed like the roof, I mean the ceiling fix, the closet fix, which I'm actually just started doing it right now. It needed a washer dryer. I mean, I have a whole list of things that it needs. Because of Section 8, it will come down in inspection coming this August. And so because I'm looking to increase the amount of money I'm getting per month, there are small things that I want to fix with it.
So you bought the property with tenants already in voucher holders already in the property. So when you bought
Correct.
the property, you paid, I think it was 150, 160.
Yeah.
Tenants already in there paying market rent. You went and
Yep.
looked at the property. And so when you first looked at the property, you knew it was turnkey. What were some determining factors of whether you were going to buy the property or not?
Well, first of all, Greg, I don't think it's at market rent. I think there's
Oh, it's a
the
little lower. That's why you,
yeah,
yeah,
correct. The previous owner, he admitted that he just failed and applying when he's supposed to apply for the increase, which I'm
right.
about to do, by the way. But yeah, it was close to market ish. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Um, and so you looked at the property, liked the neighborhood.
Yep.
I know you met the tenants. I think you
Yeah.
liked the tenants. And so
Yeah.
you went ahead and said, yeah, I'm gonna pull the trigger.
Yep, yep. That was the beginning of a long story because it took a lot for me to get where I needed to get to purchase the home. Like Akia said, your credit got to be straight. You have to have some dry powder laying around for small issues. Um, what else did you ask, Greg? I'm sorry.
And so you were also able to use business funding, and I'm assuming you've used it a little bit for this property. Is that right?
I can. I didn't really have to because, I do this rule where I put 30% away whenever I get paid. And so I have a decent amount of money stacked up for these type of instances. So I didn't have to, but I can. And one of the things that they did, are you talking about Fund and Grow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for Fund and Grow, they said that I can actually pay my rent with Fund and Grow, and that'll show that I'm using my credit cards on a more regular basis, and they'll increase my chances whenever I go for my second round of funding.
Okay. And when you bought the property, was it already 4 bedrooms and 2 baths?
3 bedrooms and 1 bath. Yes, it was already. The tenant right now, she's not really using all those rooms. Everything's finished. It's finished basement. The garage was a mess. But there's some things you have to overlook when you're looking at the big picture. These are things that I can fix as I go, and so I didn't want to stress over those small things.
Okay. And so, how do you like Baltimore? Why did you choose Baltimore?
I think Baltimore I think it has so much potential. I mean, at one point DC was pretty messed up. So was New York City, and people are looking to invest in these locations. Baltimore is slow because it becomes a big political token, but I feel that we as investors, Greg, you and me, we're what do you call that? Whenever the government comes up and tries to clean up the neighborhoods, what do you call that again?
Um, I don't know. You said clean up the neighborhood?
I think
Yeah,
he
they try
means
to.
gentrification.
Yes, there we go. Thank you, Deborah. So we're kind of sort of doing that, but we're doing it in a more better way. And so we're taking homes that are probably potential to be destroyed, and we're keeping them up. We're fixing them, and we're looking for more properties to straighten, like IKEA, like what she did in DC. So I think that's why I like Baltimore. There's a lot of investors in Baltimore. Some of them were in my accountability group. They took houses that were shells and turned them into a rental, or if not a property. That's why I like Baltimore.
Okay. And what are some of your immediate goals? You went under contract. Someone in the group found this property for you, and
Yep.
so everything was kind of in-house within the community. Someone
Yeah.
found it and said, "Luis, we've got this," and you went looked at it and you wanted it. What are some of
Mhm.
your future plans? I know that we've talked about you buying some other properties.
Yes, definitely. I'm sort of behind on my plans, but I want to buy two this year. My immediate goals is to continue to get my. So my immediate goal is to increase my rent from Section 8 for my immediate property. There's some small things that I like to correct and fix within my house. And then for my investment goals, I would like to get at least two more properties this year. That's my immediate goals for as far as real estate. And I'm also in school to be a real estate agent.
Okay, great. And then you want those other two to be in Baltimore as well?
I'm not too. I wouldn't mind one of them being in Baltimore, but I definitely want one in PG and DC, PG or DC.
Any mistakes on this one you made thus far?
Yes, I should have negotiated harder. But I mean, you look back and you say I could have, would have, should have. I don't think I made any mistakes because I had the property. I'm in good standing with the property. I'm receiving cash flow from the property. My relationship with my tenant is great. My relationship with Section 8 is great. And so I don't have any regrets. You always want to negotiate better. I think the only regret, and I thought about this, I think the only regret that I have is that I should immediately start looking for another one. and I kind of like, oh, I just want to do this, do that. I really should have jumped on something else. But that's just my air quotes regrets.
Your air quotes.
Yes, yes. My air quotes.
Are any questions, you guys? Any questions for Luis?
I have a question.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Hey, Luis. So, talk to me. I guess why did you feel pressured about like from internally about kind of hopping on another one, or I guess what's driving that sentiment?
Because it took me so long to start. Like now, I'm like, oh, I'm like trying to cross my T's and dot my I's. Back there, I was about it. So I was just ready to go. And so I hesitated so much. I kind of sort of wished back then that I would have been more aggressive, and it's the same people that threw this property at me. I should have came at them a little bit harder, but like, what else you got? What else you got? And
Hmm.
again, I don't have a Kia officially. I have no regrets, but for presentation sakes, if I had to say I had a regret, that's the only one I could say. It's kind of like that question when you interview for a job: what's your weakness? You, you know, that's how I feel about that question.
You don't have any weaknesses.
Yeah, sure.
What advice would you give people in terms
Action.
of wanting to invest? What advice would you give?
My advice is definitely action, market, market, market. Look in Zillow, talk to wholesalers, talk to Greg. He's here. He's more than able to help out. Make your one-on-ones with them. Seek out properties. Look at your filters on Zillow, on Redfin. Don't overlook anything. Be as aggressive as a Kia is and myself. Maybe a little bit safer. Don't go popping in and don't go popping in homes without any security. But yeah, I would say action. If you don't do, this real estate world is like the gym. You can have all the memberships you want to the gym, but if you don't go work out, if you don't walk in through those doors, you're not gonna work. You're not gonna look good. And so my thing is you have to exercise the action, 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 action. That's my advice to everyone. And importantly, that pyramid that I showed you before, Greg, make sure your credit score is good. Make sure your paperwork's good. One of the biggest things one of the biggest problems I had was one of my taxes. I owed some money and I paid it. I immediately paid it, but the bank wanted to see proof, and I couldn't find the proof, and so that was a big deal. Ownership of my account, my bank account. Who would think I needed some kind of paperwork, and my bank had lost something, and so my paperwork had to be in order. So make sure your credit score is good, make sure your paperwork's in order, and make sure you're able to answer any and all questions.
And I think it's also important to be part of a community as well. I think that
Oh,
helps.
1000%. Oh, man, that
Yeah.
accountability group that we have right now is really good. I mean, I have what, 7 or 8 real estate agents in my group right now. I mean, we're helping each other out. We're using each other. The one I was in with the Kia, I mean, I lean on the Kia so much, so many times, and vice versa. She asked me about auctions, and I asked her about this, and we really bounced off each other. So I think it's very good that you be part of a community because, Greg, I remember you saying one time that you were saying that you should go out to REI meetings. But when you're in this community, this is the REI meeting. I mean, on a regular basis. I've spoken to Valerie, who's here right now. She showed me a couple houses, and so it's a big community that I really respect, and I think everyone should be a part of.
Yeah, I remember last year this time, Valerie and Akia did a lot of research on tax foreclosure auctions, which is coming up next month. And
Hmm.
I'll be doing a tour of them next month. And so, but I just remember them last year, and it could have been somebody else with them, um, getting together and just researching, tax auctions and bringing that information back to the group. And I think you, Luis, didn't you take a class on tax foreclosure auctions, or Cami did, or Akia? One of you guys did last year. I don't remember.
Yeah, so we did take a class for Baltimore tax auctions. I previously had been in auctions before. I got some land in Colorado from a tax lien. And we actually, my whole group, if you remember, I'm surprised you forgot that there was a Sunday we called you, Sunday evening, and I think this is my payback. This is me paying back to you right now. But it was a Sunday evening where we got you out of bed and we wanted to do Ashley auction. Remember that? And we were looking at a property. We're asking you to ARV it for us, comp it for us, and give us some advice. And so we all met. Remember? Remember?
I remember, but I wasn't in bed. I remember though.
Yeah, you were in bed. And so we all got together. We registered for the auction and we went for it. We didn't
I
get it, but we
remember.
went for it.
You guys did it as a group. You guys did it as a group.
We did it twice. One time we did it as a group, and one time I did it by myself. And I had a couple of people from the group help me with the MAO formula because I still wasn't that good with it.
But I think the point here though is it's very, very difficult trying to do this, whether you're wholesaling, flipping, buying and holding, using creative financing strategies. It's just hard to do it on your own. You've got to be part of a community. By the way, when you use that gym analogy just now,
Yeah.
uh, you weren't talking about me, were you?
I won't deny or say I did.
I go to the gym, by the way. That hit home.
I can tell. I can tell when I see you up front and close. I can tell. But
All
it's
right.
true though, isn't it true, Greg? I mean, if we don't market ourselves, if we don't work out and talk to other people, how are we going to get a deal?
No, absolutely. That's why we do these webinars. Any questions before we head out, you guys? Any questions for Luis? Luis does a
Greg,
great job.
Greg, I felt that gym analogy too. That was too close, Luis.
Yeah, I felt like you were talking about me and Jackie.
Not Jackie, you.
See? All right. All right. Anything else for Luis, you guys? Thank you so much, Luis. Thank you so
Anytime.
much. And
Thank
actually,
you.
we talked about, I'm doing a property right now as we speak. I'm flipping a property and I'm helping Luis get past performance. I'm putting him on the deal just so that he can get past performance. And those are some of the things we do inside the community. And so thank you so much, Luis. All right, you
Anytime. Thank you.
key lessons, hopefully. We're learning where deals are, and we know that they're everywhere. Akia kind of focuses on DC, Louise, Baltimore, but everywhere in between, there's deals. We talked about different types of funding. We talked about all the profits that can be made from these, and we talked about different exit strategies. Um, Common mistakes, overpaying for the property. We talked about that. Poor analysis. Um, you have to have an exit strategy. I like to have two exit strategies. When I buy my properties, I want to know that if I want to flip it, I can, but if I want to buy and hold it, my numbers work for that as well. And sometimes I can think of a property I bought on Gorman in Baltimore, one in Annapolis, and one or two others. I went in to those projects with one strategy to flip, but then I thought, well, maybe I'll hold it, but I put it on the market for buying, for flipping it, for selling it and holding it. And um, in one project, the hold came first, I held it. And the other project, someone wanted to buy it first. So you should have more than one exit strategy. And as Luis just talked about, common mistake is not taking action. You guys, you've got to take action. There's no excuse. If Luis can do it, if Kia can do it, you guys can do it too. Kia's not even from this area. She's from Boston, and Luis is not from this area either. Um, Kia's Jamaican. Luis is Dominican,
Dominican. Dominican.
Dominican, and so, um, but they're the common denominator, though, you guys, is they take action. Um, they want it. They're highly, highly, highly motivated, And if they can do it, um, you guys can do it too. No excuse whatsoever. How to get started? How to get started. One thing that I will advise is I'm doing a 4-day course starting tomorrow. If you have not been to my 4-day course, this is how I met Luis. Luis was right. After the first day of the 4-day course, he signed up for our coaching program. Akia went through our coaching program. I mean, our 4-day course. Both of them went through our 4-day course. Um, if you haven't been to our 4-day course, which starts tomorrow, check it out. It's BBC 4-day. Go to the link. Keith, can you put the link? I'll put it in real quick. BBC 4-day. Go to the link. It is a small investment of $27, but here's what that $27 does for you. Gets you through the 4 days. The first day we go through business plan, um, targeted areas. Second day we go through strategy, flipping, wholesaling, buying and holding. Third day, most important day, we go through how we're finding our deals. Fourth day, we actually talk about financing, DSCR loans, hard money loans, creative financing, and more. We do a refresher on Friday, and as a bonus, we're going to go out in the field on Saturday, next Saturday. We will be out in the field as a bonus, looking at real properties. We're doing a live tour. We end it with a networking luncheon. All that for just $27. Go to BBC 4-day. I do see a few people on here that will be there tomorrow, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Um, I hope to see you guys so that you guys can be in a position that Kia and Luis is at, and we can be showing your property. And so, any questions before I end, you guys? Any questions?
I just want to make sure you do have me as one of those people that's registered tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do. Anybody else? Did you guys get anything out of this tonight? Hopefully, you took away some good nuggets.
Yeah.
Good, good, good. I'm not going to hold you guys because I know it's late. It's Sunday. It's bbc4day.com. Look at the site. Please join us tomorrow. We'd love to have you. Here's a link to our school. I mean, to our, I'll put this in the, this is how you join our community as well. I don't think
Excuse me, Greg. Will the tour be in DC or Baltimore?
That's exactly.
to be honest with you guys, I'm gonna pull the students. I haven't decided yet is the answer. Um,
Okay.
I I don't know. I'm gonna talk to the students and see what they prefer. Um, and then I'll make a decision probably Monday or Tuesday, whether it's Baltimore or DC.
Okay, thank you.
We've got a DC already, so maybe it'll be in DC. But I'll definitely let you guys know. What would you prefer?
Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore.
Um, I like both, but Baltimore, I vote for Baltimore over DC.
Okay, we'll do Baltimore. Maybe we'll do Baltimore. We'll see. We'll make the decision. You guys go to BBC 4-day. Before I get out of here, any questions I can answer for you guys? All right. Good class. Let's thank again Kia and Luis. They're very, very supportive. We do find people that don't want to share. And I share. I love to share. I want to be a blessing in your life. And they want to be a blessing as well. And so let's thank them. Thank you guys for spending your Sunday evening with me. Take care, everybody. God bless you, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.